everything I did, every single morning I woke up and I said, what would Miss USA do today? And if I ever was contemplating like, well, should I go out to drinks with my girls? Should I go out to dinner? Or should I go eat that cheeseburger? Or should I go on this trip? Should I spend my money here? Everything I did, if I was ever trying to decide something, I would say, okay, stop. What would Miss USA do? And I'm not kidding you, I lived by that every single day. And I say Miss USA, I skipped over Miss Missouri because I'm like, okay, if I plan for the next step, I have a lot better chance to get to this step. Hey everyone, welcome to the Tori Cruz Show, where we're shining a light on real conversations and transformational stories with some of the most dynamic entrepreneurs and faith-driven leaders you'll ever meet. I'm Tori Cruz, your host, entrepreneur, virtual stylist, and former Miss Missouri USA, ready to guide you along this exciting journey. This isn't just any podcast. It's your new home for stories that uplift, conversations that transform, and a community that feels like family. From the real challenges to the exhilarating moments of achievement, we cover it all, infused with adventure, laughter, insights, and heartfelt discussions. So settle in, make yourself comfortable, and let's get this show on the road. This is the Tori Cruz Show. Hello, my friends. Welcome back to the Tori Cruz Show. So excited about today's episode because I've been getting a lot of questions recently about how did you become a stylist? And so I thought, you know what? I would first just say, well, the quick answer is just go pick up my book on Amazon. All right, see ya. Have a great day. Thank you for buying. But that's not it. I mean, it is it. The story of my entire life journey is in my book, Unexpected, right here. Go purchase it on Amazon. But I actually want to sit down and like have a conversation with you guys today because seriously, so many people recently have been like, how, and it's probably because I've been on a lot of podcasts too, but people are like, how did you become a stylist? Like, how did you get here? And so it really stems back to all the way when I was 5 years old. My grandparents owned a fairgrounds and, well, not owned, they ran a county fairgrounds in Indiana. And they brought in some really large name country music artists. And I tell you what, my mom, it doesn't matter if it was a country music show, if it was a concert, if it was a family occasion, if it was something with friends, like every event was a fashionable occasion with my mom, still is. And it was ingrained in my brain since I was a young child. But for this specific event, I was 5 years old. We were sitting front row at this country concert and the singer comes out on stage. She walks out on stage and she says to the entire audience, and there had to be hundreds if not thousands of people there. And she says, oh my gosh, you guys wouldn't believe it. We have the cutest little girl sitting here front row with her mom. And she said, honey, why don't you come up here and join me on stage? And I was so bashful. I was caught in my shyness. I hid behind my mom. The singer ends up walking down off of stage and singing me a song. Well, this singer just so happened to be Faith Hill. And at 5 years old, Faith Hill noticed me because of how I was dressed. She said to the whole audience, how cute is this little girl? And it ingrained in me from a young age of being noticed and being seen. And you see, my mom had dressed me in these cute little white cowgirl boots that I still own to this day. I think this is why I'm an inner cowgirl at heart. That was a moment that I'll never forget. But in that moment, of course, I didn't have a clue that I was actually like the programming that was happening, right? Because I was just 5 years old. But then as I grew older, I started playing basketball. Basketball became my life. And in high school, I lived by the motto, look good, feel good, play good. And my parents always made sure that I showed up every single day looking the part. And then even in high school, when it was game day, it was like we dressed up for home games and I made sure that I looked good, I felt good. I knew I was going to play better. I would have the bling. I'll never forget. I put bling jewelry, even for away games when we were supposed to wear like our jogger set. I put these fancy earrings with it just to dress up the outfit because it made me feel better. And I'll never forget one of the upperclassmen. I was a freshman and I was playing on varsity. And one of the upperclassmen, she made fun of me because of my earrings. I'll never forget that. It was just hilarious now. But she was like, oh, those earrings don't go with this. Those stupid things that you remember when you're in high school, but they're not really stupid because they really mold you to who you are today. And that was just a small example, but I'll never forget that. And so I remember even when I was supposed to just look sporty, I would still try to just dress it up and spice it up and elevate the outfit a little bit. So that was in high school, right? I always looked the part and then I felt the part and then I knew I played better. It was like separation season. Like it was game day and I didn't want to look like anybody else. I didn't want to feel like anybody else. I wanted to look better. If I'm just being fully transparent, I wanted to look better because I knew I'd play better. And if I felt like I was different than everybody else at school that day, then I knew my mindset. It was all a mind game. It's all a perception game. It's all a mind game. When I saw the competitors walk through the door, when they brought the bus in from their school and it was game time and they saw me dressed to the nines, they saw the rest of our team dressed up. It was game day. It was just that sign of like, all right, we're ready. We're not messing around. It's time to play. It's time to ball. So that was in high school. And then when I went off to college at the University of Iowa, I had this really strong passion to get involved in the fashion industry. But to nobody's surprise, at the University of Iowa, there was no fashion program. So myself and 3 other women, young gals at the time, I was 18, 19, we all were interested in the fashion careers in the fashion industry. So we were all in the business school at the University of Iowa, and we're like, you know what? I think we can create an organization here that provides opportunity for all of us, and then whoever else also wants to join, provide opportunities for careers in the fashion industry. So that's exactly what we did. We started the Iowa Retail Association in the business school at Tippie College of Business at Iowa. And then from there, we provided professional development opportunities. We partnered with multiple stores all over the area. In some stores that were definitely national stores, had locations everywhere. We specifically partnered with Von Maur. If you've ever heard of them, it's a department store, very similar to Nordstrom. And it's a very large department store. And anyways, they're based out of Iowa. And I ended up partnering with them and creating the first ever internship program with that department store. And so I created a buying internship program and a managed store management, depending on which angle you wanted to go into fashion. And I became the president of the organization. And through that, just developed so many really cool opportunities, professional development trips for individuals who wanted to be in the fashion industry. And so it was both for men and women. And it was really powerful. And it created that opportunity that otherwise wasn't there. And so I really, now looking back, I'm like, I really have always had that entrepreneurial spirit within me, and also a really strong love for passion. But through that internship, I also realized, well, I have this lifestyle that I really crave and desire and want to live. And the dollar signs that were coming along with the buying program that I thought I wanted to do was definitely not aligning with the lifestyle that I wanted to create. I also just was not a person, I know this will not surprise anybody if you've known me for any amount of time, but I was not the person to sit in an office all day and crunch numbers, because that, at the end of the day, is what buyers do. Yes, they go to market, but also, let's be real, they sit in the office every single day. And that was not my style. I needed to be with the people, one with the people. So after I graduated college, I started competing in pageants when I was in college. I competed for Miss Iowa Teen USA, competed for Miss Iowa USA. Both of those I placed top 15, did not win. So then after college, I was like, you know what? I moved to St. Louis. I took an outdoor sales position in flooring. I sold commercial flooring, you guys. And that obviously was not my dream job, but I was also like, okay, sales seems like a really good, smart move right after college. It's an outside sales job. It was awesome. But I just didn't really care for flooring. Wasn't passionate about that. But I started, excuse me, I need some water. Assistant. Where's your assistant when you need him? But I was in outside sales, and then I moved to a new state. So I was in Missouri, started competing for Miss Missouri USA. Again, placed top 15. I was like, all right, listen up here. Like, I'm so competitive. I almost hate losing more than I like winning. I just hate to lose. So I started pageantry again, in this new state. And I was like, listen, if I want to win, I need to start hiring coaches and mentors that will get me to Miss USA, and really hopefully become Miss USA. And so I thought to myself, I'm like, all right, who do I have to hire in order to win this dang thing? And I ended up hiring a couple former Miss USA coaches. I got a current events coach. I had a runway coach. I had a personal branding coach. I had it all. I traveled all over the country doing hair and makeup lessons because I wanted to work with the best of the best. I ended up that next year placing second runner-up at Miss Missouri USA. And through that, I really started to realize how you're a walking billboard for your brand, how your image and how your presence, how it plays such a critical role in shaping your destiny. Because if I wasn't showing up as Miss Missouri every single day, then why would anybody trust that I was going to make a great Miss Missouri USA, right? It only makes sense. It's like, why don't you be the person before you actually are the person? Why don't you start training for that job and owning it before you actually have the job, So it really started to hit me, and I started developing this sense of personal brand and started my social media presence and making sure that I was showing up as the woman that I wanted to be and wanted to become and do it already before I had the title. So then I started doing all this training, right? Fast forward, I end up placing first runner-up at Miss Missouri USA. And I was like, you know what? I really do not want to sell flooring anymore. At that time, my passion was sports reporting. So I ended up quitting my sales position. And I was like, listen, this is my goal. I just placed first runner-up at Miss Missouri USA. At this point, I've competed five times. You lose count after a while. You know, when you've competed so much, you just start to lose count. But I inched my way up, right? I was top 15, second runner-up, first runner-up. I was like, all right, next year is it. Like, I'm going to get it next year. And I was so passionate because I really had this strong why, this strong mission of, sure, this is going to help my own career, but man, I feel like God put me on this earth to have a voice for women. I don't know, in some way, some shape, some form. I know God has put this in my heart and in my voice and in my lungs to go be this voice for women, to pursue their dreams, to chase after them, to get up when they've been knocked down, to take every no as one step closer to your yes. I know God has put me on this planet to do that, to instill confidence and belief in women. And so I became so passionate about my why, and I was like, I need to win this thing. I know I'm going to be a great title holder. I know I'm going to be a great representative of the state. I know it's going to help my career, but I know it's going to be so powerful for so many women who maybe didn't have the courage to stand up here, and I want to be a voice for them. And I became so passionate about it. And so then I was like, what do I got to do? What do I have to do? Well, staying in my flooring job was not going to get me one step closer, right? It wasn't helping me. So I'm like, all right, do what you've done before. I need to surround myself with the people. I need to start having the career choices, the health choices. I need to literally do everything. Like this next year, if I want to win the next year, I need to do everything in my power to be Miss USA these next 12 months before I am even Miss Missouri USA. So I said, I'm done with my sales job, quit my sales job. I had 8 months before the next pageant. I went out to Los Angeles. I researched. At this point in time in my life, I wanted to be a sports reporter. And I had heard so many people telling me that. I love sports. I love speaking. It felt like it was right? So I went out to LA. I researched the best locations for sports reporting. Keep in mind, I had zero connections. I had zero experience in sports reporting. And so I went out to LA. I created my own sports reporting brand. I called it Highlights in Heels. Yes, Highlights in Heels. I was giving sports highlights standing in my heels. And I created this brand called Highlights in Heels. It was actually, fun fact, the name of my company when I first started. But now it's Troy Cruz Enterprises. But then it was Highlights in Heels. So I went out there and I decided to network my tail off. I actually signed with a modeling agency out there and I did runway modeling. I did hosting courses. So keep in mind all of this. I created this sports reporting brand, which I'll tell you about in a minute. But keep in mind, everything I did was so intentional. I just had somebody the other day on a podcast. They said, so was it a surprise that you won Miss Missouri USA? And I was like, heck no. No, it wasn't a surprise because I did everything in my power. God has the ultimate power. If it wasn't in my plans, God wouldn't have made it happen. But I did everything in my power to make it happen. God gave me the call. I walked in the steps. I put in the action. And so I was not surprised because I was so intentional about it. So I went out to LA and I was like, okay, modeling is going to help me, like runway modeling is going to help me perfect my walk for my pageant walk. It's going to help me learn on-camera poses, what angles look best. It's going to help me with my hair and makeup. I got to know what's going on with my hair and makeup. And then I took my hosting courses, which taught me on-camera skills, how to interview people. Just like my podcast here that all of you listen to, I love interviewing people, and I hope you guys enjoy it too, because I love interviewing people, and that's what those hosting courses taught me, was really that skill, but also like on-camera presence and really perfecting that. And then so that helped me with that, because with pageants, you have to know how to speak on stage, you have to think on the fly. And so then with sports reporting, I created my own sports reporting brand for two different reasons. One, because it also gave me on-camera experience. Number two was because I figured, hopefully I'm going to win this dang thing next year. But in the chance that Miss Missouri was not in the plans for me, I was like, I can't put all my eggs in one basket here and just bank on the fact that I'm going to win Miss Missouri USA and then my whole life's going to change and for the better and do all this. What if I don't win? I need a plan B, and I really want to be a sports reporter. So I'm like, this is a win-win situation. I'm learning the skills to be on camera. I'm learning how to interview people. I'm learning how to think on the fly. I'm learning how to study people's behavior and how to report on it. And then also, I'm going to have all this footage for my career. I'll actually have a career path to go to since I gave up my sales position, right? So I was so intentional. I Airbnb hopped for those 8 months. I lived in 3 different Airbnbs throughout Hollywood, Santa Monica, and West Hollywood at the Grove. in LA, if you're familiar with that area. And I Airbnb hopped because I still had my residency back in Missouri, right? And so it was a crazy time of life, but it was such an intentional time. I went out there to become the best title holder that I could possibly be. Everything I did, every single morning I woke up and I said, what would Miss USA do today? And if I ever was contemplating like, well, should I go out to drinks with my girls? Should I go out to dinner? Or should I go eat that cheeseburger? Or should I go on this trip? Should I spend my money here? Everything I did, if I was ever trying to decide something, I would say, okay, stop. What would Miss USA do? And I'm not kidding you, I lived by that every single day. And I say Miss USA, I skipped over Miss Missouri because I'm like, okay, if I plan for the next step, I have a lot better chance to get to this step. You know what I mean? So if I plan for Miss USA, I have a lot better chance of winning Miss Missouri USA at the state level. So anyways, because my mind was already at nationals. So then it was time to go back to Miss Missouri USA. And when I was in my interview room, this is the game changer, you guys, and take this concept and apply it to business and apply it to life, because this still goes for business today, is instead of the previous years when I wasn't winning, I would sit down at the interview. They would say, why would you make a great Miss Missouri USA? And I was blah, 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 blah. These are all the reasons why, and so forth. This time I came back from LA. They knew I was like doing the modeling and they knew I was doing sports reporting and whatnot. And so when I came back to interview, they said, well, why will you make a great Miss Missouri USA? And I said, well, I've already done boom, boom, boom. I already proved to them because I'd already done it. So it wasn't like, okay, well, we're going to crown this girl because we think she's going to make a great title holder, a great representative for our state and for young women. No, it was like, we know she is because she's already done it. Do you get the difference? So right now, I don't know where it is in your life. If you're struggling, if you're like, man, I'm not getting that opportunity. I've been praying for it. I've been working for it. It's been years. It's been months. I'm getting discouraged. That's where I was at for a second, but I didn't let myself sit in it. But that's where I was at when it was coming to pageantry, because I kept getting a little bit better, which was giving me a little bit of hope, but I still wasn't freaking winning. And I already told you, I hate losing. And so think about, what can you do right now in your life, in your business, to prep for the job or for the outcome that you're wanting. I don't know if it's a relationship. I don't know if it's health. I don't know if it's a career opportunity in business, whatever it is, if it's your faith, if it's your spirituality, like, what is it? Go 1 or 2 steps further than what you want and already be that before you are that person. So every morning, like, I woke up and said, I am Miss USA today. What would Miss USA do? Start living your life like that. If you want to go speak on some of the biggest stages, okay, awesome. What does that person do every single day? What is that version of you who already has that goal, who already has that relationship, who already has that health goal, that already has that business opportunity? What is that person doing? The person that you're wanting to become. Be her now. Be him now. That's what you need to do. And the story that I wanted to share with you about me becoming a sports reporter. So this freelance sports reporter, when I went out to Los Angeles, I said, right, I had no experience in the sports reporting world. Well, I really wanted to become a sports reporter. Like, I wanted to be the next Aaron Andrews. And so I still joke around. I'm like, okay, now if I got an opportunity to be on the sidelines at a big football event, I don't know, I still might take it. I don't know, just putting that out there. But I went out to Los Angeles and I set up my at-home recording studio. Listen up. This is what you do. This is the ultimate cheat code that nobody talks about. I wanted to go to Fox Sports right there in Los Angeles, FS1. I did not have any sports reporting experience. So this is what I did. I got to LA, got to my Airbnb. The first week, I went to Party City. I think it was the first 24 hours. I went to Party City. I bought fake turf. I bought a white sheet. I bought a basketball hoop. I bought a basketball. I bought a football. I already had my golf clubs. And I bought a microphone and a long black cord that connected to my phone. And I bought a tripod. And yes, I reported live from my Airbnb in Los Angeles. So this is what I did. I would watch the sporting event on TV. And then from there, I would go get all dolled up during halftime, put my sports reporting outfit on with my heels, of course. I was highlights and heels. That was my brand. And after the game was, like, during the game, I'd be taking notes about the players. I would study the players, the coaches, if anybody had any injuries, what they were doing with their career, if it was like a college game, what they were studying. I'd study like all these facts, and then I'd study their plays and who was like, had the most points and all these stats. I'd take these notes down during the game. After the game, I would go over to right next to my living room at my at-home studio, stand on my fake turf and say, reporting live, this is Tori Cruz with highlights and heels, reporting on the Iowa-Michigan college football game. And I had my own sports reporting studio. What I did was I filmed it and then I put it in iMovie, yes, iMovie on a Mac, and I created my own sports reporting hype reel. And what do you think I did with that bad boy? I sent that sucker to the hiring manager at FS1, the same person that hired Aaron Andrews, and I got an interview. And I got 2 interviews. And then I ended up landing a freelance sports reporting job there in LA, like literally a month or 2 right before I had to go back to compete for Miss Missouri. But in the middle of all that, I also went to the Big Ten Network. And I'll do another podcast episode here about networking because of how I got to FS1, because that's actually a really cool story too about just the network and how to develop your network. But the point being, that video, I look back on it and it's laughable. It's laughable because some of the videos were vertical, some were horizontal. I had no clue that you're supposed to shoot everything horizontal. What the heck? Nobody told me that. You know what I mean? So I tell you all this because this has been my journey of putting one foot in front of the other, one foot in front of the other, being the part before you are the part. And the whole thing is that I ended up winning Miss Missouri USA. I went on to compete at nationals at Miss USA 2018. It was the best experience, one of the best experiences of my life. And I am so passionate now about helping women be the part, look the part. That's why I style women, because you are a walking billboard for your brand. I started my company right after I competed at Miss USA, and I started my company based upon mindset and confidence coaching. And I tell you what, it naturally gravitated towards full-on personal styling because I was doing brand consulting and really, really helping people be their brand. And I started my wardrobe consulting business doing virtual wardrobe styling full-time, where I'm helping entrepreneurs show up as that person that I keep talking about of being before you are her. And we always talk about now, what's the gap between where you are now, where you want to go? And there's this person that you're evolving into and transforming into. Some of you just went through a transition. Some of you are like elevating your brand. And when you do that, when you go through transition, when you elevate your brand, you also need to elevate your presence. You also need to elevate your image. You also need to elevate your style, because that is a huge part of showing up as the person that God called you to be. And so I wanted to share this story with you because a lot of people have been asking me about, Tori, how did you get to where you are? And so there's so many more stories within that I'll unpack throughout these episodes, but I hope you enjoyed that journey. It's like a walk down memory lane for me. There's some parts in there that even when I'm speaking about it, I'm like, that's what I did. That's what I did. Because sometimes in entrepreneurship, you still get stuck 5-6 years down the road that I am. And it's like, oh, that's right. Just go back to what you've always done. Go back to what you know. And then be that person already. Be that person. Dress as her. Be her. Right? So I hope this message resonated with you. If it resonated with you, please share it with your friends on social media. Tag me and I'd love to reshare it. God bless you. Hope you have a beautiful day. Thanks for tuning in to The Tori Cruz Show. If today's episode inspired you, let's keep the momentum going. For our YouTube family, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you're always in the loop with our latest episodes. And for our podcast listeners, your ratings and reviews are incredibly valuable. They help us reach more people and continue bringing inspiring stories your way. Remember, this isn't just a podcast, it's a growing community of family. Every like, share, and review helps us grow on our journey together, helping us to highlight more impactful stories. Until next time, keep being the light for yourself and others. See you on the next adventure.